have the question asked to me all the time, is your marriage really better than it was? I mean, come on. Come on. Really? The answer is yes. I want to tell you a little bit about how your marriage could be better as well. And I want to share a little bit of my own personal experience if you find that helpful and hopeful. So stay tuned. Before I found out my D-Day, my first D-Day was in early 2011. So it's been 11 years, 11 and a half years for me um, when I first found out about my husband's affair. So I'm really far on the other side is what I'm trying to say. So everything I'm about to share with you, depending on where you are in your affair recovery process, you may be, thinking, oh, you may not be ready to hear this, but I'm trying to provide some hope if you're looking for some. And to give you more of a realistic picture of when I say it's better than it was before, what I mean by that. Because prior to the affair, I don't think my marriage was bad. I mean, we rarely argued and fought. We were good parents. We were good friends. We had a lot in common. We did a lot of things together. But we had typical stresses. We work. He had his work. I had mine. I had some personal stresses going on at work that he had to deal with, and but all in all, it was good. It was good. It was nothing bad about it. It wasn't bad. Okay. But after you find out about an affair, and especially if you choose to go to marriage counseling, which I highly recommend if you have a good counselor that you can really relate to and lean on. But if you have a good counselor, things are going to come to light. For instance, for myself, I realized how incredibly codependent I was even before I found out about the affair, which led to some controlling tendencies that I found out my husband wasn't super fond of. He didn't really know what to call the feeling he had when I did certain things and behaved certain ways. That feeling he had was pushing back against feeling as though I was trying to control him. He actually blamed some of that on his impulse to have an affair. It was kind of a rebellion, but not to say that I feel like I'm the cause of it at all. He could have handled that a million different healthy ways. He made a very, very bad choice as to how to manage his need to not be controlled. So, but I didn't know, I don't know how to really explain this other than to say, I think it was just so much part of what I did. I didn't see what it was doing to him, and I didn't see what it was doing to my marriage. And likewise, my husband realized things for himself as well. He wouldn't communicate. I don't know if anybody watching this struggles with a spouse who doesn't communicate a lot. He would feel these things and struggle with these things. And instead of communicating, he would be very passive aggressive. And then he would leave me, the codependent one over here, worrying to death that, oh my gosh, something's wrong. He's not talking to me. He seems mad at me. And then he wouldn't tell me he was mad at me. It was not a good cycle. So that being the case, again, prior to finding out about the affair, it did not dawn on me for 1 second that, number one, my husband was unhappy, and number two, that he was so unhappy he would go out and find someone else. But realizing after the fact what was happening beneath the surface helped me realize all of the unhealthy patterns that we had fallen into over the years. We just had our 25th wedding anniversary. So, we've been married 14 years or actually, I think we just had our 15th wedding anniversary, maybe around that time, 14th, or anyway, around that time. So we have many years to cultivate unhealthy behavioral patterns. So once we recognized those things, you know what I mean? We were better able to tackle them. We were better able to say, okay, well, what do I need to do to tackle my part in this? And then he said the same thing. What do I need to do to tackle my part in this? So together we worked on those unhealthy behaviors in ourselves so that we could pull ourselves out of the negative cycle. This did not happen overnight. Again, 11 and a half years passed, first D-Day. The second D-Day for me was early 2017. So if that puts it in perspective for you, and I'm filming this in, mid 2022. So what is that? 5 years, 5.5 years. We've done a lot of work, and we've put some really important critical things into practice. So whereas prior to the affair, I would say our marriage was good. It was fine. It was fine. But underneath the surface was extraordinarily unhealthy. Something was going to give at some point. He wasn't happy, and I was happy, but I was comfortable. I think that's a better way to say how I was prior to the affair. Was I was comfortable. I wasn't super happy, but I was comfortable. I was okay. This must be what marriage is, right? Now it's very different. I don't think there's anything unhealthy living underneath our relationship right now. And if there even begins to feel anything uncomfortable, both of us will be very quick to step in and go, something needs to change. Something isn't right. It's a great feeling to know that I can trust him now to come to me if he's upset. And it's a great thing for him to know that I am not going to try to control him. And if I'm starting to have codependent tendencies, he knows he can actually see me working it out in my mind so that I don't kind of become a crazy person with it again. And that if I am feeling anxious or if I am triggered for some reason, I'm not going to immediately try to control the situation or manipulate anything to help me feel better. I'm going to have a very direct and honest and kind, conversation with him about it. And we come to a great conclusion between the two of us. Believe it or not, with this coaching business I have, he and I talk about the affair. We, I bring up some things I talk about in videos and I get his feedback. I try to get that perspective, and we can have honest, genuine conversations about it without me being triggered, because we're in a good place. There's nothing unhealthy living underneath all of this. So when I say it can be a better marriage on the other side, I mean that. Once we identified the junk, we did something about it. And that's the key. You can't just identify it and say, okay, now we're going to be better. You have to identify it and you have to do something about it. I work on myself every single day. Every single day. I'm evaluating why I think the way I think, why I have such and such an attitude. I'm really thinking through why things bother me. Like, wait a minute, why is that bothering me so much? I question if I start to get irritated with my husband. I really reflect on that. Why am I getting irritated right now? What is really going on? Because a lot of times it's not him, it's me. My husband's doing the same work. He's doing the same thing. I see it in him sometimes when I'm talking and I see his face and then I see him look away and look around and I see he's working it out. He's deciding, what the appropriate response could be to a given situation so as to not trigger me or whatever. He's very intentional. And that's what it is. Marriage is work. A lifelong relationship with someone who's completely different than you are is work. But it can be so good. It can be so good on the other side. So when I say that, I don't say that lightly. I don't say that it comes with, um, you know, um, a free pass. Like, oh, if you just choose to stay in your marriage, it's just going to be great on the other side. Everything's going to be great. I don't mean that at all. But I do mean that if you stick it out and you're both, oh, I cannot emphasize this enough. You both have to do the work. I'm not telling anybody watching this video right now, stay in a marriage when your spouse is not doing their part. Do not hear me saying that. But if they are, and you are, chances are you can be sitting in the same situation I'm in right now. And it's a beautiful place to be. It really is. I hope this is encouraging you a little bit. I know if you are especially early in affair recovery, this just seems like a pipe dream. You can't even fathom what tomorrow will look like, much less, 10 years down the road, still being married to this person is hard to see. I remember that. I described it one time to someone as being in a tunnel. Because, when you're at the beginning of the tunnel, the light down at the end just looks like a little pinprick, right? It's just a little pinprick. But the closer you get to the end of the tunnel, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. That's where we are. And depending on where you are in your process, you either are seeing that little teeny prick of light, or it's starting to get more and more illuminate in your area. See, I'm literally out of the tunnel now. I'm out on the other side. So there is another side to this. I want you to have that as well. And I hope that this gives you a little glimmer of hope. If you see your husband doing the things and you're doing the things, but you're getting frustrated or exasperated or just starting to feel hopeless, or you wanting it to get fixed tomorrow. I know I was very impatient too. It doesn't work that way, but there is another side, and it's a good side. Okay. So if that's you, hang in there. All right. Keep doing the work. It'll be worth every moment. If you're looking for someone to walk alongside you and do this work with you, I would love an opportunity to talk with you about my coaching services. This is why I do what I do. I want you to be where I am. I want you to be that hope for somebody else one day, maybe. That's what I would love to do. So if you're interested and you'd like to schedule an appointment with me, very easy to do that. Right below this video, there's a whole bunch of free things, but there's also my calendar. Schedule something with me and let's get together and talk. It's a free 1-hour session with me. Talk about whatever you're going through right now, and I can tell you more about how I can help. But in the meantime, always remember there is another side. Okay? There is another side to this. Keep doing the work on you. No matter what happens in your marriage, you will never, ever, ever regret the work you do on you. That's number one important right there. Okay? You'll never regret it. So keep doing the work, my friend. Okay? Hang in there.